An area that's any kind of investing that's really fascinating to me, whether it's in stocks or anything like bonds, cash, gold, whatever it might be, real estate. One thing that's very interesting is behavioral investing, or investing where you get a lot of emotion and things tied up into it, emotional investing or behavioral investing. Because if you think about investing, it should be this kind of quantitative. You're looking at numbers and you do things based on logic and all this stuff. And what really happens out there is things there's some logic involved, hopefully a lot of logic involved, a lot of numerics and things that we're learning in the course that help us with that. But really the underpinning of all this is that we are investing as human beings, and human beings have emotions, and human beings have behaviors, and some of these behaviors might not be the right behaviors. We might even accidentally or intentionally go against our best interest. The key thing with behavioral investing is understand that it's real, that's really out there, that we're not robots, that we are human beings that invest with a variety of reasons, and we have a variety of thoughts and feelings and, yes, emotions that can come into play. The big overarching things that really come into play as far as entire markets and things where entire markets might go up and down around behavior or emotion is really around fear and greed. This is what I've seen over the years. Fear, you see this a lot when the whole market goes down. There's some bad news, and maybe there's some legitimate bad news, like a financial crisis or a bubble bursting or something like that, like when the tech stock bubble burst, in the 2000, or when things burst as far as around home mortgages or derivatives or all these things. The markets go up and they go down. There's a natural cycle to that, but sometimes they go up too fast and they bubble and they break. It's usually greed that'll feed the bubble, and then when it breaks, it's fear that people are getting out, and it's can be a very traumatic thing. So when markets go down on bad news, or maybe a stock goes down, an individual stock goes down on bad news, it might be a little bit more of fear taking place as opposed to rational or logical thought. Now understand, your stock is still going down, but you can understand and think about it, is my stock going down because of something has changed with the organization or with the fundamentals or the market as a whole, or is it more of a short-term type thing? Same thing with greed on the other side of that, where we might hear of a hot tip, or we see an article, or we listen to maybe a financial expert, who's touting the latest great stock, which, by the way, everybody's hearing at the same time, so probably the price is inflated already. But we hear this and we say, wow, am I missing out? The market's going up and I haven't invested enough in the market. I need to get in there. And it might be some of that greed kind of coming in possibly, or just the fear of missing out on that. So understand whether it's fear when the market's going down, or maybe a possible little bit of missing out when the markets are rising, or maybe you've got a hot tip that may or may not turn out so hot. So understand that that is part of behavioral investing. You're making decisions based on behavior, and that might not be, well, that is not necessarily the right way to go. You want to use some of the tips and things in this course you're learning and through other things as you continue your education and learning to make good, logical, rational decisions versus emotional decisions. You're always better off with a logical or rational decision than, of course, an emotional decision. So what do you do? What do you do when everybody's panicking? Or what do you do when everybody's like jumping on board and saying stocks are going up, for example? Well, first off is to know yourself, right? Know your own pressure points. Know what your strengths are and your weaknesses are when it comes to investing. If you're a risk-averse investor and you don't like a lot of movement up and down in the stock, well, understand that and maybe invest in stocks where they have less volatility. They're not a big up and down growth stock. Maybe they're a steady eddy dividend-paying stock, and invest in those kind of stocks. Or maybe you're somebody who likes to hold on to stocks thinking they'll always come back and you ride them all the way down. So if you've had that experience, think about, well, what are my pressure points? And maybe think, gosh, if I ever have a stock that goes down more than 15%, my thing is logically, I'm just going to sell no matter what. And that might not be the right thing, but maybe it's better than writing down as it goes down 30, 40, 50% if you've had some bad experiences around that. But it all depends on you as the individual investor. So make sure you understand what your particular pressure points are. Also think about, how can I reduce those negative behaviors, things that might be impacting a person on that. One thing I do, and I really believe it, is automatic investing or automatic systematic investing. If you're on the dollar, it'd be like dollar cost averaging, or things like in the United States where the 401ks, where you're regularly putting in money Either way, it's automatic systematic investing. What we mean is it's automatically happening every month out of your checking account. It's automatically buying into a particular fund, or maybe you've put into a brokerage account or put into a mutual fund company into a cash, a whole bunch of stuff, a good amount of money in cash, and every month it's continually buying some new funds or new stocks. Typically you have it where it's coming out of a paycheck, and you get that paycheck and you're either intentionally paying yourself first and putting that money into that account, that brokerage account or that mutual fund, or you're having it automatically done for you. If you have the ability through your employer, by the way, to have it be automatically done for you, that is the best way to go, because it takes out emotion out of it. It's just going to automatically be investing all the time. And sometimes you'll buy a little high as far as the market, and sometimes you'll buy when the market's a little low too, and that's good. Either way, you're automatically investing. You're not trying to time the market, which is always not a good thing. You're trying to just be in the market, continually buying and automating that. And I use that a lot, and it really, really has worked well for me over all these years. It takes out that whole emotion and that whole thought of like, am I buying low enough and am I selling high enough? You're buying it's buying part of it where it's automated, and then you can sell on a non-automated fashion. Also seek out trusted partnerships or partners. It might be your spouse, your husband, your wife. I've been very blessed with my wife that we are trusted partners and we work really well together, and we're really very honest and open with all our investments and other things that we do in our financial life as well as our non-financial life. If you have a partner like that, that's terrific, and really talk about things with that partner, and really be open with that person and say, like, I'm thinking about buying now, or I'm thinking about selling now. And they might be able to see, like, yeah, but are you doing this because of emotion or a behavioral issue, or are you doing this because this is the right thing? You should be able to use that as kind of a way of saying, if I can explain to my partner why we should do this decision, buy or sell a stock or mutual fund or exchange traded fund, whatever it is, if you can explain it to them and they can get agreement with you, well, then that's probably a better choice than just kind of going on your own. That's another reason why people like financial planners, right? A financial planner kind of will do more of that for you, whether it's an automated robot financial planner or an actual person who's actually planning your investments for you. So if you need some help that way, or want somebody to be more of a sounding board, well, that's where a financial planner can help do that and maybe give you some advice around that. It costs money to do that, of course, so you have to weigh the costs versus the benefits for you. But if you're somebody who really struggles with making decisions or emotionally wrapped up in decisions, then maybe a financial planner might be able to help you with that. Make sure you find a good one, a trusted one, and understand the costs behind that. There's also things out there you might find in your local town, investment clubs, where you get a group of investors together and they talk about investing, and they maybe have coffee or wine or whatever is the beverage of choice, and they talk about investing as kind of do-it-yourself investors, and doing it for fun and doing it for profit as well. And they'll share different ideas or tips or things that they're seeing happening, and maybe they see a certain stock or a fund that they think is good, and they'll share and talk about that as part of the club when you have a club meeting. So if you like that and you like that social aspect, you can join an investment club, a local one. There's probably some online Facebook groups and things too. Just be wary with those things that everybody's got their opinion. They might have some bad ideas too, or some emotions behind in the investment club that they're bringing to buy the hot stock or get out of a certain stock. So just take that into consideration as well. But it might be a good place where you can share ideas and just sound off on things and say, hey, I'm really worried about this stock. This is what I'm seeing. What do you guys think? And you'll get some third-party opinions. There'll be some independent opinions. So to wrap up this section, understand that behavioral investing is real. It's a fascinating area, and understand the idea behind why you're making decisions, and is it based on logic or is it based on emotions? And so much of our investing, and so much of where we hurt ourselves with investing, is we get too wrapped up emotionally when we should be more focused on logical and rational, and maybe automating some of these decisions.